Welcome to Buzz on Veterans. Today's segment is sponsored by the Military Affairs and Veterans Department. The City of Jacksonville, Harrison Conyers and team scoring away our veterans with the military benefits that they deserve based on their service in the military. Talking about veterans, we have Ron Autrey here with Autrey Holdings. Sir, how are you?
Excellent.
Sir, it's good to see you. I appreciate you coming in. The man, the myth, and the legend. So you've done a lot of things in your life. So I think the most important thing is where you're originally from and what you do in the military.
I was born in Jacksonville. We grew up on the north side, and our family, we didn't know it at the time, but we were poor. My dad was working in his first real job as a groundman on a line truck for Miller Electric Company. And
yes, sir.
1950. By 1966, he was president of the company.
Wow.
The founder passed away, and his daughter brought my dad in and started his career, which of course ultimately led to the careers of hundreds of other people, including me and my sister and
what a legacy.
Her children.
Yeah. Before you got into work in the Miller Electric and scaling that company to what it is today, you had a little time in the Army. So what did you do in the Army?
Army Security Agency. I talked to some veterans who were familiar with it, and it was intriguing, and especially the electronics intercept portion of that training. And the basic electronics was highly applicable to my career later at Miller Electric and entering the digital age of the 70s particularly. Yeah. So it's, the Army was, I tell people all the time, was the most enjoyable part of my life.
Yes, sir. It had a huge influence on your back gap, on your I'd say your chapter, I guess chapter 2 of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gigantic. Well, thank you for your service. Obviously, you didn't do what you did. We couldn't do this here today. And so you have this passion for writing, and you've written 2 books. You got a 3rd book on the way. Can you talk to us about your books?
Ron's World is a historical memoir, 7 decades of my life, but primarily it's about the geopolitical events around the world. And while I didn't want it to be a history book, I pulled interesting segments of significant historical events that a lot of people have forgotten about.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of younger generations never had the opportunity to learn about. So I presented that, and that's was very rewarding to research, and the readers tell me they get a lot out of that. And to break up that history, I add the subtext, Ron's World, all the times I died. So I would stop the wars and famines and the new releases of television shows, etc., and insert something that I did that was incredibly stupid that nearly cost me my life.
Yes, sir.
And at least in one case, I think I really did die, but it's in the book. And I think you'll find those to be interesting segments.
I love that. Yeah, a little bit of self-reflection, but also the condense, the ability to bring that history together, to have some so whats that you can walk away with. It's funny, whenever an incident happens, I always tell people that doesn't happen in isolation. There's a historical thread that goes backwards. You need to take a look at, well, how did we get here? And there's always a piece of that, so you dive into that. So your latest book, tell us about it.
Farnsworth's Secret War is pure fiction, except for the parts that I know about, and I'll never reveal what those are. But it follows the life of a young Army officer coming out of West Point in 1966, and of course directly into the Vietnam War. And,
yes, sir. And
3 tours serving through the Tet Offensive, and including being injured himself, and the book chronicles in great detail and accurate detail various battles through the war and some of the geography associated with that, and the people. Coming out of the war, he's stationed in Fort Devens, Massachusetts, where I was in the Army Security Agency, and he develops a relationship with a young lady up there that follows him through the book, and through special operations and reassignments, he finds himself in the Pentagon in D.C., where he stumbles across another young lady, which sort of complicates his life. And when you say Farnsworth's secret war, there's more than one type of war. And but I think you'll find the book interesting, particularly for military folks, because I was very careful to keep the accuracy dead on.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the book can be found on Amazon, I imagine.
Amazon, Audible, they're both available on Audible, and of course ebooks and Kindle.
Yes, sir.
And print versions.
So, sir, I saw this statistic a month ago. It was saying that 63% of Americans have aspirations to write some type of book or chronicling of their life, but very few do it. You did it. What was your passion to write? What is your passion to write?
My third grade teacher told me, she said, "Son, you're so full of it, you need to be a writer." And I was always better at communicating in the written word, and I carried that through my business life as well. And coupled that with, I guess, a unique ability to remember events in significant detail, from the geography to what actually happened, to recreate those scenes, and that was very helpful in the all the times I died portions. So
yes, sir. And so, sir, we're going to do a fundraiser for a local nonprofit here called Operation New Uniform. So with Michelle McMahon and her great team over there, I know you volunteered to help them. Why is Operation New Uniform important to the city of Jacksonville, and why are you supporting this effort?
Well, like many veterans organizations, we owe so much to our veterans, and Michelle McManaman is tremendous at what she does in putting on the classes to transition people. And if you think about it, whether they're veterans or not, anytime you can get a little hand up, a little help, a little direction to hone, to point you in the right direction for the skill set that you already possess. And the military was tremendous at creating very talented people, as you well know.
Yes, sir.
And Michelle is very talented at getting them focused into a new career in private life. And I'm very happy to help her with that effort.
And I like Michelle's methodology of preparing the veteran for the actual workforce. It's not like a resume writing course as I've seen with other nonprofits in this space. They're like literally, who are you? How do you sell yourself? And that's, sometimes selling yourself sounds kind of cheesy and maybe dirty, but the reality of it is you got to establish your future employer that you want to work for. What's your value proposition to them, both the intangibles and tangibles, and their methodology to make change in those individuals, not just folks coming out of the military, but veterans that have been out that need this training, and then spouses. I commend her and her team for what they're doing. So that's gigantic. So, sir, you ran Miller Electric. So if you're talking to the veterans right now, what are the one or two bits of advice you would tell them as they prepare to leave the service to go work for a civilian employer? What should they do? What should they be thinking about?
I would tell them the same thing the Marine Corps told you, is whatever you do, be the very best at it.
Okay.
People will notice, and they will appreciate perfection and execution, and that is all essential in whatever job they go into, and that is also the best path for advancement in any career, is to be the very best. And this morning I spoke to a group, and I was quoting the executives at General Electric Company, because that was their mantra. If you're going to do it, be the very best.
Right. I worked for General Electric in 2000 and 2001 before 9/11 happened, and I tell you, Jack Welch came in, reinvented the company, and he always talked about that, is that you will see the talent will rise to the top just through your deeds alone. And I think in military service you learn that very quickly, and when you think other people aren't watching, they are, and you'll be rewarded in due time. So.
I hung on every word he ever put on paper, and he was dead on how to build a perfect organizational model in such a way that it can be replicated. And we were able to replicate our model at Miller Electric all across the country.
Well, sir, thank you. First of all, thanks for your support to Michelle McMahon over there at Operation Uniform and what they're doing over there. Thanks for coming in here to talk personally about yourself, and then what you've been writing and how you're writing. I think you're going to be an inspiration for a lot of our veterans who have aspirations to write. Now it's time to actually, put your head down and do the work, because I can tell, we were talking off camera, that this has been fulfilling to you, because I think personally you get something out of what you put into it. And I'm going to encourage everybody in our audience to take a look at you and take a look at your works, and then I'd encourage them to at least buy one of the 2 books, knowing that they're going to be better off for reading your work. So
there's no artificial intelligence in this process. It's all average and below
yes, sir.
average intelligence, and lots of research, stacks and stacks
yes, sir.
of printed paper.
Well, sir, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, folks, take a look at Ron's work, and I'd encourage you to buy one of the 2 books. Hey, you can never read too much. So as I do, try to, my challenge is 3 to 5 books per month. And as my mom said, nobody's going to fault you for being overeducated. Not that I'll ever be accused of that. So again, check us out on social media. Take a look at Ron's books. We'll see our next segment, Live with Gratitude.
When they leave us for battle, we await their return. When their embrace is gone, we imagine them with us. Some don't come back. We grieve. Some come back hurting. We help. Heroes survive. We honor them. Heroes fall. We remember them. 150,000 veterans live in Jacksonville. We serve them. We're the Military Affairs and Veterans Department, City of Jacksonville. Because of them, our light never dims.